name is SHARAY Hayes, a.k.a. The Punisher.
Including the top gear with the castle. DJ, turn up his music so you can't hear it. He's got too much leather in his face.
What a motherfucking welcome. We are so excited. I've never heard so much horny pussies in my life, let me tell you. They're ready to get punished.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I am your host, Tish Love, along with Darnell and Jules.
Hi, guys. How are you? We're a happy, horny family.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, speak for
And we have
yourself.
a very special guest in the house today, Mr. Punisher. Hi,
Hey, everybody. Nice to meet you. No, you got to do it a little better than that. We have
Right.
a very special, world-renowned adult entertainer, right?
Stripper.
Exotic dancer.
Exotic dancing. The king of exotic
Entrepreneur.
dancing, right?
Oh,
Give it up some more. Give it up some more.
Thank you.
So, what, you don't go by Punisher anymore, do you? Or you do?
I mean, I do. Like, it's a name that I'm never gonna really be able to shake.
To
after
live
this
down.
many
Yeah, I know
times,
that's
yeah.
right. I know that's right. I was telling him a story upstairs that he was around when I was like 12 years old.
But what are you doing now about that at 12 years old? What kind
I
of
didn't
parents
know.
did you
I didn't know what was going on. I came out the room and see punishing. I didn't know what was going on.
So, okay, how did you come about having the name Punisher?
Honestly, I wish I had like some fancy story for you, but I played basketball.
Okay.
So it was actually a name from playing basketball. That when a guy who started me out was somebody I played basketball with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because when he first took me to the shows, he said, "What you want your name to be?" And I was like, you know, Caramel Mandingo. You know, I said some silly shit.
Is it some truth to that?
No, this is
Caramel
really the
Mandingo?
story. Yeah, I said Caramel Mandingo. So we go into the parties and he's introducing me, and girls is like, Caramel coming over here, and I'm completely ignoring them. So he was like, look, man, until you figure out
what your
name's gonna be, I'm just gonna call you Punisher, like when we play basketball. And I just kept
It
it.
just stuck. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good name to have.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out.
It worked out.
Is that name trademark?
I started to trademark it. You know, you go through all the process,
Right.
which you have to send in and stuff. But it's a real difficult name to trademark because of Marvel.
Oops, sorry.
You know, so Marvel has everything kind of locked down. So the red tape you had to go through, I was like, well, look, if somebody else comes behind me and tries to trademark it, they're gonna have just as much problems. And
As you, yeah.
you know,
Right.
I mean, but you didn't have a problem using it because you made a whole career.
I think your stripper CD and my CDs in my book are the only two people that have this song still. See, it's a black palette, that's why I didn't notice. Now ladies, pay attention. This is the only man that can get a G-string off this fast. It takes me 10 minutes to put these pants on. Baby, you stay over there.
He's watching for Clubland TV, the final chapter. What? He's watching for Clubland, the final chapter.
We're just gonna call this Clubland TV one last time, because after this we're getting kicked off.
Don't want no short dick, man. What in the world is that for? You need some fucking tweezers for that, man.
Your dick or your leg, that's pretty low. Come on, ladies. I've seen about a total of $5 tonight. Where are your singles? I could go touch his ass if I wanted to and give him $1. I have more singles than everybody in this room. Oh wait, you have singles.
Punisher from basketball. What was your first night like then?
My first night dancing is, for any male dancer, it's kind of traumatizing because we, as men, we have no idea what women really find sexy.
Right.
Oh, really?
You know, we don't.
I never heard a man admit that, right?
Yeah, we have no idea what a woman finds
Exclusive
sexy.
bitches, listen up.
Yeah. So what we try to do is we try to create just a reaction. You know,
Okay.
so you go, okay, I'm gonna take a girl and I'm gonna flip her upside down, or I'm gonna do something to just create and some type of shock value.
You find that attractive? You find that sexy when you get flipped upside down? I saw somebody say, woo, in the movie. Somebody like that.
Reaction equals coins.
Not all the time.
Oh?
Not all the time. See, because again, that's what's wrong with the business, because all shock value, just because somebody goes, oh my God, doesn't mean
It
it's
was
a good
good.
reaction.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the fine line you have to figure out. The difference between a reaction because you just did something crazy, or a reaction because you did something that sparked a fantasy or created some sort of, you know, wow factor that's beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually the difference between a good entertainer and a bad entertainer.
What made you want to start stripping?
Coins. He needed some money.
No, seriously? A breakup.
A breakup.
A breakup. I was with my high school sweetheart,
Okay.
completely in love, and she came home one day and said, I'm gonna start working in a female strip club. And I had a heart attack.
Okay.
But I stayed
Was she going to work as a stripper?
Well, she said a waitress, but they always start
But
a
that's,
waitress.
you're right, but I'm just
You know?
saying, like, if you're gonna go work in the strip club with the other girls, you're automatically a stripper.
No, because
That's not so.
That's not so.
If you're serving fucking chicken wings, you're
You're
still
not
a
a
stripper.
stripper. You're not on a pole.
You knew different though. You knew something might turn into something else.
Yeah, because she was in one of those environments where she was in a high-end club where they had those $250 private rooms. So if a customer says, I want to take the waitress to that private room and the club's going to make all this money, you can't say, no, I'm only serving chicken wings.
Right.
You got to go. So, I mean, but I buckled down. I stayed with her for about a year.
Okay.
And then she came home again and said, I'm in the club. I'm meeting all these guys. I want my freedom. And she
Oh,
dumped
she wants
me.
to fuck.
Really?
Yeah, and me being, you know, very immature at the time or whatever, I actually thought it would be some benefit to me. Like, look, I'm gonna go be a stripper too, and she's gonna see everybody checking for me, and I thought it would get her back.
Well, it didn't get her back?
Nah, but it was the best breakup I ever had.
Well, cool. Well, did he ever book you?
Because you became rich, are you still like friends and stuff like that?
I mean, we're cool. Like she checked for me like down the line, but I was all the way in.
You never
there.
like seen her or any of her friends at a party?
I mean, you know, Facebook,
Okay.
come across people.
Right.
But you know, she's moved on. I'm all the way out
Now
of that.
she's
world.
a fat bitch with 4 kids
Before
in
you start
Kansas.
stripping, what were you doing beforehand?
I was actually teaching kindergarten.
Wow.
What a different career choice.
The fucking kindergarten teacher is
So
now.
were you like a stripper by night and a teacher by day for a while?
100%.
Wow.
So what made you say, fuck these kids, because the children are not the future, I gotta worry about my own future?
I actually had to resign because you can't make money being a male dancer without popularity.
Right.
So at one point, I'm really, really going hard. I'm on all these flyers, posters. I'm on like the Ricky Lake show. I'm on all these things.
So Ricky Lake.
yeah,
Shout
so,
out Ricky
so,
Lake.
so let's just say parent-teacher conference got interesting.
little.
So women were coming to parent-teacher conference because you were there.
No.
Or just noticing you.
But they know that you were the teacher.
And you know, because we live in a judgmental world, there's
Yes.
some people that will say, well, if you're a stripper, it's a character issue. And now how does that character translate to children and stuff
Well,
like
you're
that?
not fucking teaching the kindergarten kids to be strippers.
But-
they already know that from their parents.
We know that, but this world is, you know, it's a lot of ignorant,
Stupid mixed up
yeah,
shit.
stuff like that.
Right.
So
But they voted for Trump.
yeah, yeah. So I had a very, very good relationship with the principal and the director, and I didn't want to put them in any type
Right,
of
any
awkward
shame
scenario,
or
so I
anything like
resigned.
that.
And you was getting more money stripping.
Yeah, because I definitely, I would forget when payday was.
Wow.
So
I
have
really
you
didn't
ran
value
into anyone from the faculty or anything like that?
No,
or
worse, I had one of my students
grow
show
up?
up to a show.
How did that go?
It was kind of
Very
surreal.
awkward.
It
Was
was
it
kind of
awkward?
surreal. I mean, she was a grown woman
Yeah.
at that point, but it just made me say, like, wow, man, like this is.
Like that she still. I wondered, do you
Did she
think?
like say, Mr.?
She told me she was a fifth grader. She told me she had a crush on me. So.
Oh, so her pussy's been thinking about you since fifth grade.
So what's the craziest, let's get to the questions. What's the craziest thing that has ever happened at a party?
I mean, you want. My number one all-time crazy story is kind of gross, you know.
But we
and
all
it's not-
for it.
It's
We're all
not.
here for it, buddy.
It's not pertaining to me. It was another dancer, but it's still like mind blowing. We had a guy like at the underground shows. Everything goes. You expose everything, so you show what you're working with.
Okay.
And one of the guys actually had a piercing. And he was kind of those guys, he was real crass with it, and he would take it and try to like stick it between a woman's bra and stuff like that. And he actually came up to this girl, and she was wearing a white like knit sweater. And he comes with the
dummy.
piercing and he's trying to put it on her, and she's waving no, 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 and her sweater caught the piercing and yanked it out.
I cannot, oh my God.
And then the blood
Blood.
kind of like squirted like all over.
My type of party.
Are you kidding? Was that like party's over, pack up, let's go?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was a bachelorette.
Wow.
Oh wow.
So that was that right there kind of like scarred me mentally, but it also taught me a valuable lesson because, you know, I explained earlier, shock value.
Right.
So his whole thing is, I'm gonna do something crazy because he wants a reaction.
Is he still dancing, or his like penis
Nah,
is out of
he's
work?
done
Out of
at
work.
this time.
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
thought I would be out of work too.
Yeah, he's done.
So,
But-
sorry, I know. Well, we know that you've been on some kind of like reality shows and all that kind of stuff. How was that experience for you?
I would say the filming of the 2 reality shows I did was, the filming themselves were the best experience I ever had in my life.
Wow.
And the turnout of it was the most disappointment that I've ever experienced in my life because, you know, you get the opportunity to be on a TV show, and when you go on a reality TV show, it's kind of like a free for all. Your personality, you have to kind of
Alter it.
shine. And I can honestly say I probably did as best as you could in that environment. But unfortunately, the shows that I was a part of, one of my cast members, it was like this big story. While the show was airing, he actually murdered his newlywed wife.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So he got into some crazy argument with her. He strangled her. And then to try to conceal the body, he pulled all her teeth out with a plier, cut all her fingers off, put her in a suitcase,
Some
and
Jeffrey
two
Dahmer
ended
shit,
up-
but
Was that on the news?
heterosexual.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look for that
So
when we leave here
question,
tonight.
have you ever did private sessions at a female's home and she expects something afterwards?
No, that's not. Well, 99% of our parties are group settings.
Okay.
They're bachelorette or birthday
So it's never
parties.
been a single.
Yeah, like a one-on-one scenario is not something. Look, a woman would say if she invited a guy and paid him money in a one-on-one scenario,
You gotta
she
fuck.
ain't looking just for a couple of dry humps.
Right.
You know.
So you never got offered that, or you just turned that down?
Well, I turn it down because this is really my livelihood.
Right.
So when you start crossing these lines, like for example, I can do a show right now, and every one of these ladies will say, you know what, that was good. He was entertaining. I would hire him, but if they're all friends, the minute I sleep with one, now I don't want to hire my girlfriend's
Jump
used
off.
goods. Yes.
Right.
So if you really
Not say used goods, say pre-owned.
okay. So if you really want to make money
You're
in this
still
business
used.
long